Have you ever felt paralyzed by something you can't even name, or perhaps ignored an emotion thinking it would disappear, only for it to come back stronger and in unexpected ways? These moments, which might seem like minor lapses, actually reveal something much deeper: emotional repression. Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis, believed repression is like a natural defense against discomfort, a mechanism we use to manage feelings that feel too overwhelming to face. But what happens when we accumulate repressed emotions? These repressed emotions act like a slow leak in a pipe, easy to ignore at first, but eventually leading to burnout, strained relationships, or even health issues. For example, consider chronic overworking. It's not always driven by ambition or passion. Often it's rooted in a fear of inadequacy or a deep-seated need for validation. Addressing the underlying feelings early on can prevent the larger, more disruptive consequences that arise when they are left unattended. In this video, we'll explore how these emotions influence your daily decisions and can stand in the way of fulfilling your life's purpose. After all, true freedom begins with recognizing and confronting what lies beneath the surface. Repressed emotions are those we choose consciously or unconsciously avoid or ignore. We don't know why they don't simply disappear. Instead, they remain alive, operating in the background and influencing our daily choices, behaviors, and our health. Picture someone who consistently steers clear of confrontation. It may appear to be a natural trait, but more often, it stems from underlying fears, perhaps of being judged, rejected, or seen as unworthy. Similarly, a person who brushes off praise might be wrestling with a critical inner dialogue that undermines their sense of value. These outward behaviors are just the tip of the iceberg, with the hidden depths of unresolved emotions silently shaping these responses. Repressing emotions is not the same as overcoming them. It's like burying seeds in a garden, expecting them to never blossom. At first, it appears that the problem has been solved. The ground appears clean and under control, but those seeds eventually sprout, sometimes in the most unexpected places, in outbursts of rage, unexplainable anxiety, or repeating patterns of behaviors that don't serve our well-being. And here's the important question: what feelings are you ignoring because they are uncomfortable or too minor to matter? Resentment, frustration, and hurt. These emotions do not remain in the past. They take root in the present, influencing your choices and drawing you further from who you authentically want to be. Consider someone who feels constant anxiety before presentations or important meetings. That nervousness might be more than the natural fear of speaking in front of an audience. It could stem from repressed memories of shame during childhood, moments when being exposed led to criticism or humiliation. Think about someone who avoids commitment in relationships. This pattern might be a manifestation of a deeply buried fear of rejection so ingrained that the person isn't even aware of it. The unconscious mind has its own way of communicating with us. It often speaks through physical ailments like persistent headaches or muscle tightness, cryptic dreams, or even strange lapses in memory that feel deliberate. Freud described these phenomena as the return of the repressed, the mind's way of revealing what has been buried. When we ignore these signals, they don't disappear. They resurface in disguise. The danger lies in addressing only the symptoms without uncovering their true origins. It's like repainting over a crack in the wall without repairing the foundation underneath. Take, for instance, someone who reacts with intense anger to a minor inconvenience. This reaction might not be about the moment itself, but rather the weight of unresolved frustrations built up over time. These flare-ups are just surface-level indicators of something deeper. The real question is, what are your body, behaviors, or even missteps attempting to communicate? Repressed emotions, while uneasy to confront, serve as signals urging us to pay attention. They reveal areas in need of healing because, like a shadow that follows you, what you ignore will eventually find its way into the light. Avoiding an emotion doesn't make it vanish. In fact, suppressed emotions often resurface in unexpected and heightened ways. This idea, known as the return of the repressed, explains how feelings, memories, or desires we attempt to bury eventually reappear, though often in altered or unrecognizable forms. It's like painting over a stain on the wall. Over time, it seeps through again. This return can manifest in everyday life, such as when someone is faced with an opportunity for growth, but becomes frozen by an overwhelming fear of failure. Often, this fear is rooted in past experiences of criticism or rejection stored deep in the subconscious. Similarly, repressed emotions can emerge physically, showing up as chronic migraines, stomach issues, or muscle tension, signals from the body reflecting what the mind has silenced. When emotions aren't acknowledged, they seek other ways to be heard, whether through impulsive actions, vivid and unsettling dreams, or lapses in memory. Recognizing the return of the repressed isn't about judgment or suppression, but about creating space to understand and address these hidden feelings, paving the way for healing. It's essential to approach these signs with curiosity and ask, what is this emotion revealing to me? For example, if you find yourself consistently delaying important tasks, it might stem from a deeper fear of inadequacy or failure. Acknowledging this can help you confront the root issue, rather than just the behavior. After all, what we resist persists. It merely waits for the right opportunity to resurface. Just as covering up smoke doesn't put out the fire, suppressing emotions only delays their eventual resurfacing. By identifying and understanding these feelings, we transform confusion into insight, creating an opportunity for growth and clarity. Repressing emotions is a behavior many of us adopt unconsciously. It often starts in childhood, when showing emotions like anger or sadness might have been met with disapproval or misunderstanding. Later, societal norms that glorify strength and emotional control reinforce the tendency to bury our feelings. This defense mechanism serves as a way for the mind to shield itself from pain or perceived threats. But if emotional repression is so prevalent, why do we persist in relying on it, even when we understand the potential harm it can cause? There are numerous reasons why we suppress our emotions. Some are rooted in cultural norms. In many societies, sadness is often viewed as weakness, while anger is labeled as unacceptable. This teaches us to conceal these emotions, opting to bottle them up rather than face potential judgment. On a personal level, repressing emotions can feel like a way to shield ourselves from the fear of rejection or disapproval. Who hasn't held back tears in public to avoid appearing vulnerable? Then there's situations that get stored as trauma, profoundly painful experiences that the body and mind bury in the subconscious as a form of self-protection. Recognizing these influences is the first step toward understanding why we hide our feelings. Picture a child who is chastised for showing anger. Over time, they internalize the idea that feeling angry is unacceptable and begin suppressing it, often without realizing. Years later, this same person might avoid confrontation at all costs, still influenced by the belief that expressing anger is wrong. Now, imagine an adult who is never given space to voice their frustrations. They might come to believe they have to shoulder every burden alone, burying their pain out of fear of being seen as weak. But repressing emotions has its consequences. It's like building a dam to hold back water, effective at first, but as the pressure builds, the structure inevitably fails. And when that breaking point is reached, the result can be explosive anger, overwhelming anxiety, or a persistent sense of emptiness, signals from the body and mind that it's overwhelmed and needs attention. Here's something to reflect on. What emotions do you feel you're not permitted to express? And where did you learn that? Identifying the answers can be a vital step in realizing that while suppressing emotions may have once helped us cope, it doesn't have to define us indefinitely. True freedom starts with giving ourselves permission to feel, without judgment, fear, or shame, allowing our emotions to simply be part of who we are. Letting go of repressed emotions can feel overwhelming, but it's a crucial step toward living a more authentic and balanced life. Emotions buried deep in the subconscious don't fade away on their own. They linger and influence us in subtle ways. Acknowledging them is like sorting through a long-forgotten storage box. At first, it can feel messy and overwhelming, but eventually, you discover what's meaningful and create space for something new. The first step is noticing the signs. Repressed emotions often make themselves known through behaviors or feelings that seem disconnected from their root cause. For example, you might find yourself avoiding certain people or situations for reasons you can't quite pinpoint. Tasks that once brought you joy may now feel discouraging. Or you might develop habits like compulsively scrolling on your phone or abusing substances to distract yourself from deeper feelings. Once you've identified these patterns, the next step is self-reflection. Ask yourself, what's really behind this? For example, if you feel a wave of irritation every time your colleagues argue, is it truly the noise that bothers you? Or could it be tied to a repressed memory, such as the emotional residue of witnessing conflict at home as a child? By exploring these questions, you begin to uncover the messages your mind and body are sending. Allowing room for these emotions is not just about healing, it's also about transformation. Suppressing feelings may seem like a way to cope, but it only postpones the necessary work of addressing what lies beneath. When we bring these hidden emotions into the open, we not only experience relief, but also uncover new opportunities to live with greater intention and clarity. Repressed emotions don't merely influence our actions and decisions. They can also create distance between us and our true passions, steering us away from the path toward our life's purpose. How can we fully commit to what truly matters when parts of us remain concealed, working against our intentions? Imagine someone who has always longed to travel the world, but never takes the leap. At first glance, it might appear to be due to a lack of resources like time or money, but beneath the surface, there could be a deeper reason, perhaps an unconscious belief that they aren't worthy of such freedom, or a fear of venturing into the unfamiliar. These hidden emotions, though subtle and often unnoticed, can create significant barriers that hold us back. This pattern isn't limited to one area of life. It plays out in many aspects, quietly influencing our choices. A person who suppresses sadness might steer clear of meaningful relationships, fearing that vulnerability will expose them. Similarly, someone clinging to unresolved resentment may find it difficult to trust others, inadvertently sabotaging chances for authentic connections. These unaddressed emotions act as unseen barriers, keeping us stuck in patterns of dissatisfaction and preventing us from moving closer to our true selves. As Freud famously observed, what we do not bring to consciousness appears in our lives as fate. This highlights how avoiding our emotions today can quietly shape our future, pushing us further from what we truly seek. By confronting these buried emotions, we break free from unconscious patterns and open the door to more genuine choices. But how can you tell if your life aligns with your true purpose? Consider this. What would you pursue if fear wasn't standing in your way? Often, what we avoid the most holds the key to a more fulfilling life. Whether it's the fear of failure, the shame of feeling inadequate, or the compulsion to meet others' expectations, these suppressed emotions create a gap between the person we are and the person we aspire to be. Acknowledging this truth isn't a weakness, it's a profound act of bravery. When we stop running from our emotions and start paying attention to them, we realize they're not barriers, they're guides pointing us toward growth. Sadness can inspire us to reach out and form deeper connections. Fear can push us to step out of our comfort zone and explore new possibilities. Anger can ignite the determination to stand up for what matters to us. By addressing what we've suppressed, we not only lighten the emotional load we've been carrying, but also rediscover our authentic self. This reconnection is what propels us toward our purpose, enabling us to live with greater clarity, passion, and truth. Facing repressed emotions can seem overwhelming, but true transformation begins when we stop avoiding them and start integrating them into our lives. Freud viewed this process as a way to bring clarity to our inner struggles, transforming obstacles into opportunities for growth and empowerment. Rather than treating repressed emotions as adversaries, we can approach them with curiosity and compassion. Imagine them as coded messages waiting to be interpreted. Once understood, they no longer feel threatening, but instead become valuable tools for self-discovery and growth. Anxiety, for instance, might be your mind's way of signaling that something meaningful is at risk and needs attention. Sadness could be an invitation to pause and process emotions that require deeper understanding. Finding healthy ways to express these emotions is key. This process allows you to release what no longer serves you, paving the way for healing and greater self-awareness. For some, writing can be a valuable tool for expressing what no longer serves them. Journaling about a time when you felt overlooked or dismissed can help uncover how those experiences continue to influence your relationships today. For others, creative outlets such as sketching or painting can provide a way to express emotions that are hard to put into words. If you're more drawn to physical activities, practices like yoga, exercising, or dancing serve as powerful tools to release emotional tensions held within the body. Some people find clarity by simply observing their emotions as they arise, without judgment. For instance, if you feel a sudden wave of anxiety before stepping out the door, instead of pushing it aside, take a moment to ask yourself, what's behind this feeling? Where might it be coming from? This gentle curiosity could reveal that the anxiety isn't about leaving the house itself, but stems from a deeper fear of being judged or rejected, something that can be gradually addressed with patience and self-compassion. Seeking the guidance of a professional, such as a somatic therapist, can also be profoundly helpful. Somatic therapists provide a safe and supportive environment to explore emotions stored in the body, helping you face feelings that might otherwise feel overwhelming. Most importantly, releasing repressed emotions is a gradual and non-linear journey. Think of it as tending to a neglected garden, watering, pruning, and providing sunlight over time. What was once hidden can eventually flourish into growth that nourishes and empowers you. This process of integration goes beyond simply recognizing feelings. It also requires action. It means creating opportunities to express emotions in constructive ways. For some, this might involve addressing a long-avoided conversation, such as resolving a lingering resentment. For others, it could mean exploring new outlets, like a creative pursuit or physical activity, to release built-up tension. Imagine someone who has suppressed a passion for art out of fear of judgment or failure. By finally embracing that desire, they not only rediscover a way to express themselves, but also reconnect with a source of joy and purpose that had been lost. Integration is about welcoming every aspect of ourselves, including the parts we've tried to ignore, and giving them space in our lives. Transforming obstacles into strengths isn't about achieving perfection. It's a continuous process of reframing challenges as opportunities to rediscover and reconnect with our authentic selves. Each repressed emotion we acknowledge reveals insights about our values, needs, and aspirations. Ultimately, this journey isn't about fixing who we are, but learning to move forward with our challenges, embracing them with courage and grace. Creating a fulfilling life isn't about sidestepping challenges, but about discovering meaning within them. By embracing and integrating the parts of ourselves we once suppressed, we don't just become more complete, we also gain the freedom to pursue the path that truly aligns with who we are. Healing from repressed emotions is a journey of self-discovery, courage, and growth. By acknowledging and integrating these hidden parts of ourselves, we open the door to greater clarity, connection, and purpose. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. We'd also love to hear your thoughts and reflections in the comments. Your insights not only help us grow, but also create a space for shared learning and support.